Alright. And to answer your question, if he's not denouncing life as a whole, then I give it a pass. I think there's a huge difference between knowingly burying kids when you have a transmissible disease, or bad genes, or a high likelihood of some other condition that is not genetic or viral. Because it just isn't. There's no... A lot of people are happy with their lives, happy with life itself, and therefore it cannot be one-sided. Like I said though, I think it's beyond cruel to have kids if you know that there's a good likelihood that they will be fucked up in some sort of way. Which is not radical. It's not unheard of. It's not even a unique idea really, because that's really the main reason why we don't allow incest. Like, you can't just have kids with your siblings. Is because, you know, of that. So, the fact that people don't draw the line in a different position, or they think it's like extreme to say, oh, you shouldn't have kids because you have this or whatever, I'm sure they would be offended, you know, if you said, you have asthma, or you have bad eyes or something, and there's like a high likelihood that your children... I'm sure they would be offended, but, it's not really extreme in any way. It's quite the opposite. It's very much the next logical step. It was a quote under a midget getting 2 kids of his own that are also midgets. Yeah, I think, I don't know anything about midgetism. You won't be sure about what the kids would feel, if they'll be happy about it. No, you don't have to be sure though, that's the thing. If it was all about being sure, then no one should have kids at all. Everyone should just die and never... everything should just die and all kids... There's a rare chance that one of the kids won't be one. A midget? I have no idea about the implications of being a midget. I don't know how likely it is if your parents are midgets for you to be a midget. I have no idea if they suffer other health issues from being that small. It's not about being short. If you look closely to them, you can see that they are deformed. The legs are, the faces. Yeah, I know, that's what I said. Like, I'm not assuming that it's about being short. I said that I don't know anything about being a midget. I don't know if they have other health problems that come from being a midget.
Department of Agriculture Commissioner Salazar said changing weather patterns were to blame for livestock behavior and encouraged ranchers and breeders to attend this weekend seminar on Beulah Avenue in Pueblo. And if you're out late tonight, you may see some low-flying helicopters near Silverthorne and Leadville. Seems the Arapaho Park services will be spraying for an infestation of box elder bugs.
I love you too.
But do keep all pets and children indoors between the hours.
If it's generic and it's not about life in general, then it's agreeable. But I've already said to you, we've already talked about how I feel about not wanting kids because I don't have good genes. So it's kind of not really not anything fresh necessarily. I mean, you could adopt, you know, I wouldn't mind adopting. Unless you meant that part of it physically. Blah, blah, blah. You don't know me. Have to make this quick. I did 2 weeks of software consult, all sorts of NDAs I'm very much breaking right now, but seriously, terrible things happening here. Don't understand it. Don't believe half the things I saw. Doctors dream therapy that's going on. It needs to be exposed. I want my kids at least one. One is enough. We could have one. If you decide. Or we could have one and then adopt one, you know? We could like... I don't know. Alright, so if his car was beeping when he just opened the door, that means his keys are still in the fucking ignition. So why would you leave your keys there? Also, this is not what a car parked on a curb looks like. With the suspension, it's just like, it's completely level. It's completely level, but it's just one side is on the curb and one side isn't. It's not really how it evens up. After the stream or while you play, I want to know what you'll do in his place. That doesn't have to wait after. I would probably fight some people, but I would also not go here empty-handed, save for the camera. I have to really quick remember how to, fuck! I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to waste the batteries. I just wanted to know how to run and stuff. Let me see if there's another control scheme, because this one is kind of bad. Actually, wait. Hold on. Okay, yeah, it's still bad. Hold on. Blee, 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 blee. Oh, okay, I can do this one. That's fine. That way I can run and not have to stop turning around and stuff. And I can still look behind and stuff. Hold on. What is the interact button? Oh, now it's that. Okay, then. That's why I didn't think it was gonna use the batteries. But, okay. Hold on, sorry, I'm processing all of this. How do we bring up the camcorder? Okay. And then... Okay. So like this, and then... Okay. So I would definitely not come empty-handed. Also, these cars are, they're a lot bigger in real life. We had these on base. The tires, it has this big old step here for a reason. Like, first of all, the door isn't so small, and then second of all, the tires were almost as tall as me. The tires went up to my shoulder about. So either Miles is like 6'7" or something, or these are too small. And it actually says that he's not 6'7" because Chris Walker is taller than him, and Chris Walker is only 6'8", and he's not an inch taller. As far as what I would do, I would go in here, I would be armed. I'd know that the likelihood of me being able to use it in such a situation is low. We could have actually jumped up there. But it's better to be armed and not need it than to be unarmed and need arms. So, I would come in here with some stuff. Not anything abnormal, probably. I just come in here with what I normally carry, which is like a knife and my handgun, one of them. And then maybe if because it's known to be troublesome, maybe I'd carry like a spare magazine for some additional ammo. I might carry like the larger ones, like 20 round or the 19 round magazines that I have. But I wouldn't shoot every single person I see in here because you just don't have ammo to do that, and you also can't like you can't explain that to you know, like if you had to use it and you got caught, you would not be able to explain that. Hold on, really quick. Maybe we should really quick. Is that better? Like here? Because it's loud for me and my headphones are not even at full volume.
They killed us. You got out. The variants. You can't fight them. You have to hide. You can unlock the main doors from security control. You have to get the fuck out of this terrible place. Little pig.
Is it better now, or is it still too loud? Because I can drop it one more, and that might be better.
And who are you, then? I see. Merciful God, you have sent me an apostle. Guard your life, son. You have a calling.
See how he says guard your life? And then he says you have a calling? People should I can't even talk. People should guard their life. No matter what, and then they find their calling afterwards. That's fine with me, you know, like, give them a chance. Nope, it's cool. It was just hard to hear you over the noise. Yes, I imagined that it would be. I was thinking that it would still be, even after I dropped it 2 notches. But if you say it's not, then I'll take your word for it. It kind of depends on who you ask, because people can label anything a cult. You could call, like, firearm groups cults, you know, like, you could say, I'm in a cult that worships weaponry or something, you know. Obviously it's not true, but, like, people use the term cult to fearmonger other people into siding with them. They'll be like, oh, you're in a cult, and then everyone just bandwagons on them because they're like, oh yeah, cult, cult, cult. It's like the dumbest, oh shit. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. So it kinda depends on who you ask. Or maybe more specifically how you define cult. There was an atrocity that the US government committed upon some people. They burned several women, some of them were pregnant, and children to death. The total casualties were like 80 something. And the excuse was that they were a cult. It's not illegal to be a cult or in a cult. And it's, even if it was illegal, I don't think the death penalty would be applicable to it, you know? I don't think it would be punishable by death. But here we are. It happened during the time I told you when we almost...
Get them out! Please! You got your Listen, please!
The time when we almost lost everything. And you're right about making me lower it down again. I told you I was gonna be, right? Let's do, you think 1 is good? I stopped talking because I knew it was gonna happen, but... We'll try 1 and then you tell me how it goes. It happened though during the time I told you when we almost lost everything. During like the 80s, I think, or it might have been the early 90s. Because of the lack of information, because to understand it, you have to understand that at the time, like during the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, the only way for people to get information was corporate media. So like news companies that make money and have ulterior motives. There was no like internet really, and because of that, there was a very, very tight stranglehold on the truth. And in essence, we almost lost, like, everything. Like, they wanted to repeal the Second Amendment and a whole bunch of stuff under the guise of public safety. That was the early 90s was when the assault weapon ban went into effect. And I can teach you about the assault weapon ban another day. But it was a bunch of bullshit under the guise of public safety. So, what was I saying? When did it happen? It happened around that time period when people were being brainwashed harder than ever, in essence. There was no debunking the myths that corporate media would set up for people. The only way you could know better is to know conceptually and to gather stats on your own. that's not really plausible to expect the average person to do.
Who's there?
You can actually go into the second room before he comes out on even on professional, I think, or insane mode. It only takes them 2 hits to take down a door on the higher ones, I think. But you can still make it in there and close the door on him and then hide in under the bed. But I can hear him in the water, so where the fuck did he go? I don't know. Anyway, so it happened in that era during widespread brainwashing. There's it's not the only thing that happened. There's other instances by the same government agency that led to unwarranted deaths of people who are innocent, not just unwarranted like in my opinion, but like people were literally not guilty in the eyes of the law as well. The real question is, how does he see if it's this dark? Are you at least stressed from playing this game? No, because I finished it on insane without dying and without like, I finished it on insane mode while getting all of the documents, I'm pretty sure, as well. And I finished it in under 4 hours. So no, not really, but at the same time I'm not speedrunning it right now. I'm just playing it normally. When you do that, you're supposed to take the other one, but I don't really care. You're supposed to take the one closer to the door, because he will always check the one that you're not in. So if you're closer to the door, then you're just closer to the door. You get like that little head start on him. Alright, so now what do we do again? We turn the power back on.
I'm sorry, my son. I didn't want to have to do this to you. But you can't leave. Not yet. There is so much yet for you to witness. Will you see it? Can you? Our Lord, the Wall Rider, tearing his truth into the unbelievers. The only way out of this place is the truth. Accept the gospel, and all doors will open before you.
We could probably finish it in like 2 parts, maybe. Depends. I haven't... That was the last thing I did, was get the 100% on this game. A crazed uniform? I think it's got the cross on it because he's like, he's a priest, you know, or something.
Who's this? Maybe Father Martin's man.
Maybe.
He looks Nervous?
I would like to kill him.
As would I.
The preacher asked us not to.
It would be impolite.
Not here.
We give him a running start.
There's an idea.
And when we kill him, we kill him slow.
Such patience.
I want his tongue. And liver.
They are yours.
Open what?
You look like you've seen a ghost.
Open the door to get out of the cell? I think it's better to not be in the cell than to be in the cell. Oh, you mean the other guy? That guy on the outside. Yeah, I don't know about him.
Wait until I finish. Oh, but I saved some for you. Just wait.
Why did it open to you? Yeah, no logic. At least they should have left it open and let you open it. Yeah, it's just like a weird thing that makes you unnerved. Yes, you're the sick one for interrupting his sexy time with the corpse. I like this one. This is my favorite variant. Cause he works with Father Martin. I think Father Martin told him to paint this message. He's obviously a little bit loose, but he means well, at least.
They weren't experiments. They were rituals. A conjuring.
Just shut up! Let me think for a minute! Quiet! Quiet! I'd like you to stay quiet.
He's supposed to chase out here, but I don't hear him chasing me. He's supposed to leave through the gated fence on the left. Oh shit, that's him. That was him closing the gate. Bye-bye. Like what? You don't have to reply if you wanna, but I wanted that.
But now we indulge. Yeah. His tongue and
You don't have to reply if you wanna, but I wanted asked that time, and I thought it would be weird too. I don't know what you mean by that. You told me once that you were asked to flex while you worked once. Who asked you? It was a little boy. He's about age like 10 or so. He's a customer, I don't know his name. See, the things that really break the immersion for me is like the fountaining of blood. It's also not possible to rip someone's head off like that, but they could have done something else where it is possible. Okay then, I won't do it. The soundtrack for this room, I have it. I like it. It's really bad.
my God, he vanished.
I think that once upon a time reporters had balls. Not anymore though. What was the context though? It's cute, children are innocent. I just kneeled down to talk to him, and he was like asking me a bunch of random shit like kids do. And he was like, oh shit, you go to the gym? And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, hold your arm out. Alright, no, I don't like this part really that much. I think I fucked up, to be honest. Hopefully this works. I don't know if this is gonna work. I didn't know it would take him that long to break the fence gate down. I can't tell if he's on the floor below. No, he's not. This guy's supposed to creep you out, but like, I don't really feel it like that. Just feel bad for him a little bit. I mean, he's like the least dangerous out of all of them, probably. You know, he's pretty tied up, and he's blind. Like, the fact that he's able to follow you around is pretty cool. Maybe he's got good hearing, but it doesn't really worry me.
Nurse! I'm gonna need some help getting clean. Nurse!
Hold on, my controller's dying. I know he's like jacking off or something, but yeah. We've left the night vision on too.
What's the experiment? The dead will reform the living! It's still happening! The experiment is still happening!
We have faith in all the wrong things and it will destroy us. I like that. Alright, hold on, give me a sec. I'm gonna take my boots off, because my feet are like... it's a little bit uncomfortable to like sit with them on a beanbag. They're really for like standing and walking and stuff. On. People finding the time to masturbate in such times is outstanding. Oh, people are saying, and I might to let. Oh. I don't know if it's that, but like they don't really have anything else to do they? So I don't even know why he faces the toilet to do it, to be honest. Like at that point, who even cares? But it's a game, right? It's hard to settle, you know? It's hard to be like, oh, I'm in prison, but I'll still have my dignity. But, you know, like, for me at least. For some people, they would maybe uh, find it different. But for me, like I was saying, if I didn't live in the US, it's hard once you pass that line to justify being a good boy, you know? Um, at that point, you might as well just do some Batman shit, you know? Okay, I'm back. I'm done taking my shoes off. You must get used to wearing flip-flops around the house. Wearing shoes is banned in the house. I don't usually wear shoes in the house, it's dirty. You know, like, 'cause the dirt and stuff carries all sorts of bacteria and whatnot. I don't usually wear shoes in the house. And I actually do have flip-flops for that reason. I have ones that don't have the little divider thing in the middle, so that you can wear them even in the wintertime with like socks on. I know it's not stylish at all, but like I would rather have socks and be warm. Oh shit, there's a next page of that. Next word at least. This is the one for Chris Walker. Interviewed in restraints. Following his self-inflicted mutilations, restraint had to be altered to accommodate his enormous size. Extensive dermal eruptions as consistent with failed morphogenic engine cellular activity. He claims the skin ripped off from his forehead allows for a truer way of seeing. Seems to have some boyhood experience with tuatara lizards and their parietal eyes. He has expressed anxiety about his flesh, specifically around his lips and nose. Attending orderlies should be advised to watch for further self-mutilation. The mental traumas he sustained while serving in Afghanistan seem to be retarding progression of the ME process. His predominant fixation, amplified by therapy, is a manic exaggeration of military security protocol. A continuation of both chemical and physical restraints is highly recommended. It's also a philosophy. There's a philosopher, I'm assuming is what you meant, called Diogenes the dog. He lived in a barrel, befriended dogs, and masturbated whenever and wherever. We clean with water, cause the floor is made of ceramics. In summer we walk barefoot, and in winter it's with flip-flop. I don't know what to call them, but not the ones with your toes sticking out. I leave my shoes in front of the door. I leave my shoes by the door too, and I know of Diogenes. People glorify his stuff a lot because he essentially said you should like. He was like kind of like Buddhist in a way. He didn't believe in owning that many possessions because you would become attached to them and stuff like that. I don't agree with him though. He believed that you were inevitably going to lose them and then therefore suffer the loss, emotional loss of your possessions. I don't agree with that at all. I think that you should protect things from being lost and accept when things break. They have finite lives just like we do. Marble, not ceramic. Yeah, I think most of the floors are wood here usually. Wood with like varnish on them, so you can still mop them and stuff like that. It's not like gonna rot the wood or something, but blee. I don't know if these are actually worth reading. I'm inside, bodies everywhere, blood, burn marks, heads lined up like bottles behind a bar, dead Murkoff scientists hung from the ceiling. Their badges say Murkoff Advanced Research Systems. Murkoff's longtime MO has been to profit off the exploitation of supposed charity. Fuck the third world and bankroll another billion. How did Murkoff think they would make money off a building full of crazy people? There's some kind of tactical cop pinned like a pig on a spit. He tells me to get the fuck out and then dies. Would have been a good thing to hear when I could still leave the way I came. A crowd of broken men watching a dead channel. They look like patients. They survived whatever happened here, but nobody's home. I'm already beat to hell. Walking bare feet is better for posture and the spine. I'm already beat to all hell, picking broken glass out of my scalp, couple cracked ribs, nearly killed by a deformed giant. Looks like somebody tried to fuckstart his head with a cheese grater. He throws me through a wall, knocks me unconscious. I wake up and some doughy old man with a face like like an alcoholic kitty fiddler in a homemade priest outfit calls me his apostle. Not a job I asked for. There are words scrawled in blood everywhere. I'm getting an ugly feeling in my gut that the priest is writing them and for my benefit. The big fucker is stalking me. Found a patient filed for a Chris Walker, ex-military police, several tours in Afghanistan. A lot of the blood in this place is on his hands, but not all of it. Military police is like the worst job in the military. The priest, Father Martin, brought me here to show me something. Thinks I'm going to be a witness for whatever batshit crazy he's trying to sell me. This Dr. Warnicki is at the center of whatever went wrong here. But he died more than 10 years ago. Rest in peace, says the blood on the wall. Can you mop them with water? Fuck this place. Seriously, just fuck this place. Dying keeps moving lower on the list of the worst things that could happen to me here. I can't shake Chris Walker, the big ugly fucker who likes ripping off people's heads. I hear him muttering about security protocols, containment. What if he's not the problem? What if he's trying to fix it? Walrider. The word Walrider is all over this place. Murkoff is running an experiment here called Project Walrider, but the patients talk about it. Sorry, I've been reading a lot of the stuff that I sent you. But the patients talk about the Walrider like it's a physical presence, a spirit or demon, something they found in the mountain. I'd chalk it up to schizophrenic delusion, but I just saw something. Maybe. Maybe it was a glitch in the camera. Or maybe this place is getting to me. Alright, now we go. I'm not crazy about this part either. Journalist writes like a kid. He kinda does. He might be like it. I don't know that he writes the articles for the journalism that he does. Like, he might just be the, like, field person who gets the evidence, the recordings and stuff like that. Someone else writes the articles usually for him or something. I don't know how reporting works exactly. I don't know that it all has to be the same person. Why is it the worst job though? Military police. Because military police usually have to, oh no, what? Okay, so what I said earlier is maybe not true. As far as I know, it was, but like, there was more than one locker there, and I hid there, which is weird. Yeah, it's alright. Why is it the worst job? So, if you're military police, not only do you have to police everyone else on base, which leads you to be hated by pretty much everyone, um, but you also have like higher fitness standard requirements, and you have to sometimes stand in for infantry, so you have to do jobs that aren't not even your job. And you also have to have higher fitness requirements, and you also have to do a whole bunch of other shit, and you obviously like even like just the actual shit itself, like you have to deal with people drunk driving on base 24/7 because for some reason they just literally can't stop doing it, like they just absolutely need to drunk drive at some point in their military career. He's still here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's still fucking here. He just doesn't make noise. You see that? He's walking silently. Anyway, mainly for those reasons. When I told you, when you asked me what I would do in his situation, you don't really have a whole lot of options when it comes to someone like that. Like, there's not great opportunity for me to fight someone that big. That's not to say I can't do it without a firearm, but like, I risk myself getting unnecessarily injured severely from not shooting him. And I know that he is technically not the antagonist, but I would probably kill him. I would probably just shoot him. Like, when I say probably, I mean definitely. I would just shoot him. Like, several times, probably. But anyway.
You don't have to be scared of me. I can tell we're the same. You still know it's real. The doctor's dead. You know that, right? Dr. Wernicke died before he even started working here. What kind of experiments does a dead doctor perform on living patients? That's the question.
I like this guy. He's got like a nice little house here. I just worry about his food supply. He's kind of cut off considering that way is locked, and then there's a bunch of rocks, and then the other way was flooded until we just unflooded it. So, what is this? Food? Canned food? Nope, it's paint. So he just eats paint all day. Is this the right way? Yeah, I guess it is. I'm not crazy about this part either. I mean, it's pretty good, but it's a bit frightening. I think this has to be one of the most iconic moments in Outlast, probably. Like, it's pretty unforgettable. I'm sure you know what's about to come up as well. I want a nice camcorder like this someday. Not literally like this, but like a nice dedicated camcorder I can use for all of my photography needs when I pick you up from the airport and stuff. What a lovely voice. Who? Oh, you mean the voice behind the door? This was one that I went past by accident when I first played. I didn't know you're supposed to go in here. I think that's it though. Oh wait, is it a... What the fuck is this? Okay, it was not it. Oh fuck. No, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, whatever. I meant to just pull up the things. Already weak, cold, it's bleeding, but it doesn't hurt anymore. And I almost have quiet. I can't hear the wall rider anymore. Maybe the therapy is wearing off. I can't remember the dreams. Said I could earn my release from this place by submitting to the therapy. Lies. Of course they were lying. It was not therapy. We were sacrificed to conjure a demon. Please, let there be no dreams. The only hell. Patients know that Dr. Warnicki is dead. One asks me, what kind of experiments does a dead doctor perform on living patients? Alright, are you ready? Because I don't like this part at all. But obviously I do like this part a lot. I don't know, I can't see it really. Oh, it's right there. It is right there. He's coming over here though. I can't tell where he is. He's somewhere. Oh, you bastard.
Get back!
I was gonna close that door on him. I never tried that before, but can't, I guess. And then this is where you get soft locked sometimes if you're stupid. I did it once. It was on a professional run as well. I got like, what, like an hour in, and I just fucked myself because I did something wrong, and then I couldn't get out without them killing me. That was like the first time I tried it, I think. The second time I tried it, something else happened. I don't remember what it was. Doesn't it say something in here? No. Alright. So this is the part where you could soft lock yourself if you were on insane mode, because there's no saves in that. What I did was I took too long in here, and then I had to run out, and I had to run like back into the vent, and there was no way for me to like open the door once you have to open that door while... Am I spoiling it for you? You already seen Outlast and shit before. You probably know. It's not a very long game to remember. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. It's not a huge spoiler. Someone was already banging on the door earlier. If you take too long, then you just don't get a second chance at it if you're on insane.
You slippery little whore! Oh, fuck!
Also, there's no way you could do that. Jump off of a plank like that. Like, as soon as you go over the edge, it doesn't have enough mass to stop you from falling.
You can't hide!
I'm trying to make as much use of the look back as I can for you, so that's cinematic and
Who's
stuff.
down there? You're not one of them, are you? Quick, get in the dumbwaiter if you want to live.
What the fuck? He's hitting me. I should have shut the door, that's why.
You're the right choice here, buddy. Hey, you're that bullshit priest's guy, aren't you? As witness or whatever, you must be exhausted. No, let's take a break, huh, buddy? The old 2-martini lunch? Have a little confab, blah, blah. Heavier than you look. A little cardio wouldn't kill you. Okay, here we go, arms and legs inside the car at all times. You know, I love the mountain air up here at night. You want to head out and take a stroll? Go ahead, I'll wait here. Go on, run free. I'm in no hurry.
Doesn't have any
No?
nipples.
All right. Nose to the grindstone, I like that. Okay then, right this way.
Zainavi, did you fall asleep?
Kill me. We're putting that tongue to any use anyway. Truth be told, I was just tired of licking downstairs. Here we are then. Thanks so much for coming by. We'll begin your consultation in a moment. We'll just need a second to wash up and, well, movies. And it'll give us a chance to talk. You know, I'm a bit worried how much time you've been spending with Father Martin. I know, I hope you haven't been letting him confuse you with all his holier-than-thou Bible thumping. No offense to the man, but I sometimes worry he might just be a little bit crazy.
It's understandable when people get scared. They're as like to turn to God as anything else. You know, God died with the gold standard. We're on to a more concrete faith now. You have to rob Paul to pay Peter. There's no other way. Murder is the simplest form, but what happens when all money's gone? Well, money becomes a matter of faith. And that's what I'm here for. To make you believe. You paying attention? Don't pass that on me. There's so much for you to absorb. There. Better now, right? You understand how we achieved here? We made the consumer into the means of production. This thing is gonna sell itself.
Bitch stole my trigger finger. If only you could break out of restraints just like that. As if they were not designed for that exact reaction out of people.
I'm not a patient. I'm an executive, just like him. Like Jagger. He got the gene and he's still alive. So the Wernicke's Lakers, he worked too well. They couldn't control it. And you can't control it. Nobody. He'll find you. He'll kill you. He's coming now. Trigger!
I see what's happening.
Alright, then we keep going. I don't like this part though.
Kill me! Go ahead, fucker! Go ahead and murder me! See what happens! You think I'm scared of anything?
So this part is a little bit complicated because on insane mode, I'm pretty sure Traeger pick with you. On insane mode, Traeger can kill you in one hit, as can Chris Walker and the Wall Rider and stuff. All of the major ones can kill you in one hit. So this one is a little bit complicated.
I need you to be working with me here, buddy. Buddy!
He also does shit like that, which is really annoying. Shit. What the fuck? I'll just try open it, I guess. Fuck you.
Aren't you a slippy little fucker?
I didn't mean for it to fucking work out like that, but he does weird shit. Like when you close that door, sometimes he'll go all the way around instead of breaking the door down. And that means that you can't get him to stay in one spot. You really want him to break one of the doors down so that that way you can have enough time for sure to like push the thingy out of the way. The cart. So that's why I don't really like that area. See how long it takes him to break down a door? That's kind of why it's like really helpful.
I'm not gonna know from you.
The, what the fuck was it called? I can't remember what I was gonna say. Can't remember, I tried to.
Thank God you survived. I feared that secular maniac would carve you up like the others. Meet me outside. We're close now.
Oh, I was gonna say, once he starts breaking down the door, he doesn't really stop. He's kind of locked in there for a while, so even if you pass him or something, he'll keep breaking it down. You're guaranteed that amount of time. This part's alright. Where the fuck am I supposed to go, though? I don't remember.
I had to burn it. All of it. Murkoff took so much from us. Used us. Turned us into these things because nobody cares about a few forgotten lunatics. So let it burn. Burn the whole goddamn thing down. Get up. If you want to live, you can get out through the kitchen.
There's like no reason you couldn't cross this fire. Like, just on your own, but we'll turn on the sprinklers and shit on his parade, I guess. I think he's right for burning it down. Even though it gets rid of some evidence, arguably, Miles has evidence on his camera, so it's not really that important. The way he says if you want to live, like, it doesn't sound in like its normal dramatic way, but it actually sounds like he's like unsure, like if you choose to live, Like as if it's like a peculiar decision to make, to side with. I don't know if you noticed that. It's a good thing he can't move a shelf or two. I know I keep flicking the night vision. I'm sorry if it's like distracting.
Every little crevice until we find that key. I know one of you babies has it. There we go. No complaining now. We have to wash every little part. Oh, who's a clean baby? Who's a clean baby? Oh, you are. Yes. Here you go.
I don't usually go to this one first. Usually I go to the right first because he comes from this area when you first get in. So we'll try this out. I don't know how it'll work. Even though we're crouched here, I didn't, like, for some reason it lets you be in stealth when you're next to a light. Even though obviously that doesn't make sense. Even if you're crouched next to a light, it doesn't make you in stealth. This one only has one locker, so if you do stay in there, he will pull you out. I also missed this one, I think. The first time. Or not the first time, but when I was going for... I guess it was, like, the first time I was going for the, journalist Pulitzer achievement. We're not gonna get all of them, I'm just, like, trying to look around here. Not sure why this exists. Anyway, let's go out there. What the fuck is that? I do like in this game that you're allowed to reach a lot of ledges that seem like you can, and I also like that when you crouch, you get very, very low to the ground. Like, if this thing is up to his hips, he's crouching below hip height, which is, like, he's like as tall as like a toddler right now. He really scrunches down. And I like that because hiding is important in this game, but I would like that if it was in more games, even games that don't have to do with hiding or stealth or running away, fleeing, evasive maneuvers and stuff. Like, I would like it if it was just in a lot of games, even aggressive games, like shooting games and stuff like that. Being able to tuck very tightly in is like good. It's very good. Hold on, give me a sec to respond. I don't really know where we're supposed to go. Forgot. Obviously you can hear him. Getting quite close to us. Just skip forward 10 seconds if you're here. I think we want to be there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we want to be there. So I'll just wait for him to leave again. One time I did fall back down from here onto him. Hold on, skip forward 10 seconds if you're here. Oh, you're in sync now? Did you skip forward? Why did you skip forward? I mean, like, you can, I guess. It's not a big deal. 23 is a bit early, especially if I'm going out with her, but I want to be with you at the same time. 23:30. 23 it is. Yep, I'm not able to concentrate any longer. I'm in sync to hear you talk to me straightfully. That's fine. It's okay. You didn't miss that much. You missed some navigation stuff in the dark. How about we get past this section and then I'll save so that you don't wake up super duper late. And then, if you want, we can call until you fall asleep or something so that you don't have Outlast in your head, while you're passing out. And then I can definitely do that. You're cute. I love you. And, you're making me lose my concentration now too. We can save after this bit, and then we can call or something instead while you fall asleep. And, as far as tomorrow, I would prefer have you at 23, because then we don't have to stay up into like the 1 a.m., 2 a.m. stuff. Like, and if we did want to, we still can, but like then we just have more time, you know? But if you want, 23:30 is okay. It's not a huge deal, 30 minutes. But I would prefer 23 just because it gives us a little bit of a gap. I know you are getting better at being firm with telling your friends that you have stuff to do with me and stuff like that, and I appreciate that a lot. But if you had like a little miscalculation, you know, then if you were going to be not on time for 23, at least you'd be late at 23:30 instead of if you were aiming at 23:30 and you were late, then you'd be there at midnight maybe, you know. So it gives us a little window of error if we need to take it. Okay, but Kaylee, we always stay more than that, and I don't mind at all. I know we do. I can't get enough of you. But, I just think that it gives us a little bit better wiggle room, and also it would just be better if you slept a little bit earlier, I think, for you at least. That way you get, you know, you don't feel tired so much, at least. You're cute. We're gonna get past this, and then we're gonna save, okay? If this was a real prison, I'm not gonna lie, without the spooky stuff, it kinda seems alright. It kinda seems nice. Like, it has this... Obviously this is filled with blood and bodies, but, like, if it was, like, just normal, like, with water and stuff, they have, like, a nice little area, you know, like a courtyard with a fountain and benches around it, and the lamps around it. It's nicely lit. And then they have, like, the other areas and stuff like that. It actually doesn't seem that bad. Obviously, you know I wouldn't want to live in a prison, but, like...
You saw the Wall Rider, didn't you? You're beginning to understand, but not yet. Even Abraham had to cast his eyes to the ground. But soon, this way, revelation is at hand.
Well, with school going on, midnight is my limit, but it can be more because I only have like 2 courses for 2 months straight. Then it's gonna be 6 or less. I'm not sure. Baby, I don't want to keep you up and make you tired, even if you only have 1 course. But that's what I mean. Like, if we aim for 23 right now, then you'll be in the habit of going to sleep at 23. Or not 23, but like... Oh shit. If we aim for 23 right now, you'll be in the habit of going to bed around midnight after spending time with me. And so... it'll just, you know, it'll be simpler. You'll be in the habit of it already, and not like... I know you can do things beyond your habit, but like, as far as sleep cycle goes, habit is a little bit difficult to escape from. Sometimes. For some people. It can vary. But for me, it's definitely difficult to deviate from sleep cycle too much. Like, I can take a nap and it won't completely screw me, but if I start doing things and making a trend of it, then it becomes a little bit difficult to get away from. Mainly because of my previous bad habits. I think it like connects with that past history. Anyway, we can save it here. We got out of the rain. We probably can finish it tomorrow in one more part, because it's not a very long game. We're about a little less than halfway through right now. I can read the little notes quick. Feast of Flies. I thought the sewer couldn't smell any worse. Hundreds of bodies crammed into a room, thousands of flies. Is this the priest's way out? Death of Traeger. How to make Traeger juice. Step 1, squeeze. I'm not the only victim here. Not by a long shot. I watch a man wait to burn to death. The most painful death imaginable. Rather than stay in his place. In this place, sorry. Keep fucking it up. I've said it before, but fuck this place. I've still got those fingers left. God help me, I think I've seen the Wall Rider. So much blood in the water I can smell it, like putting a penny in your mouth when you were a kid. The whispers are making more sense. I'm looking for static. It's like an itch. The sound in the machine, like the sound in my head when the wall rider appeared. I blink, and I see static, something else. Something oily and dark descending behind my eyelids, watching me with organs I can't imagine. But the sound is coming from the machine too, from inside the walls. I know that sound. Rick Traeger, this patient I'm just a doctor, not a miracle worker. Pretty new to this whole doctor thing, still working out all the kinks. Anywho, somebody's gotta cut the fat from this Project Wallrider disaster. We've been bleeding money ever since this thing went tits up on the account of that Billy kid. But I've managed to slim back personnel by more than 80 people, which means short-term savings in salary and long-term savings in pension and healthcare costs. And I've been figuring out a lot about biology. I was on the fence about it before, but now I can say without absolute certainty that a person can't live without his kidneys. You learn something new every day. To whom it may concern, this is my third time asking for a reassignment after 2 months without answer. I don't want to work at Mount Massive anymore. I have been an orderly my entire adult life, but have never experienced such a consistent level of secrecy and disrespect. I even have suspicions that some of the patients may be being abused. I know personally 2 of them who have been moved to the basement ward and never returned. If I don't get an answer to this email, I will be forced to resign, and may very well consider contacting the press. Thank you for your time, David Annapurna. If you suspect someone is being abused, the best thing is probably not to tell someone that you're gonna tell on them. Mr. Walsh, please accept the immediate resignation of Orderly 531920 David Annapurna and process him as a patient of Mount Massive to treat his persecutorial delusions. Treatment should continue until the time of his death. Thanks, buddy. Rick Traeger. Hence why you don't tell people your next move. Something. If I can just talk about Outlast in general, the game was actually based heavily on real life shit that they did. Like, it says here MK Ultra CIA Hypnotic Homicide. And then it says on Wednesday, February 10th, 1954, hypnotic experimentation and research work was continued in Building 13 of Mount Massive Preserve in Colorado using the following subjects: material abridged, post-hypnotic of the night before pointed finger you will sleep was enacted. Mrs. Jackson and Pierce immediately progressed to a deep hypnotic state with no further suggestion. Miss Pierce was then instructed, having previously expressed A fear. I need a drink. I'm sorry. That's why I'm keep slurring on my words. Um, Not alcohol. I mean like water. Having previously expressed a fear of firearms in any fashion, that she would use every method at her disposal to awaken Miss Jackson, now in a deep hypnotic sleep. And failing this, she would pick up a nearby pistol and fire it at Miss Jackson. She was instructed that her rage would be so great that she would not hesitate to kill Jackson for failing to awaken. Miss Pierce carried out these suggestions to the letter, including firing the unloaded pneumatic pistol gun at Jackson and then proceeding to fall into a deep sleep. After proper suggestions were made, both were awakened and expressed complete amnesia for the entire sequence. Miss Pierce was again handed the gun, which she refused in an awakened state to pick up or accept from the operator. She expressed absolute denial that the foregoing sequence had happened. We should once stream. We should once stream with you tipsy. That would be an experience. I used to drink pretty frequently when we would talk. I don't know how much you think I change when I drink alcohol. I haven't recently because it saves money to not buy it, and I haven't felt like drinking that much, so. I don't really get any bump out of drinking. It eases the nerves, and you know how I've been stressed lately. It makes me a little bit less anxious. You don't zero changes. That is correct. I don't really change. All I am prone to do is slur a little bit more of my words and maybe ramble a little bit more. And obviously worry a little less, but what I was gonna say, to clarify this document, when it says a pneumatic pistol, that means an air gun. So, and then it says unloaded. So essentially, they handed her like a BB gun, a pellet gun. It uses compressed air to shoot like a small pellet, not like a proper bullet or anything. Although there are hunting caliber pneumatic guns, they're not pistols. You can't fit that much compressed air into a pistol. The hunting caliber pneumatic just means relating to compressed air. So they're one and the same, but you can't really hunt with the handguns because you can't fit enough compressed air into it. So, and then it says unloaded. So it was a pellet gun without a pellet in it. It was just essentially like a spring gun, you know. So that's what they're saying in this, but she didn't know that. The Miss Pierce did not know that in the hypnotic state. But anyway, what I was gonna say was that MK Ultra was a real program that the U.S. conducted, specifically the CIA, and people don't know about it, and they don't think it's real. The people who do know some things about it, it's not a conspiracy theory either. It is documented, and it was declassified in some amount. The only conspiracy theory part about it is whether or not they succeeded in the program. The aim of the MK Ultra program was to find a way to control people's minds, essentially. And that is obviously debatable. But the program itself is not a theory. That was a real thing that happened, and the details of the program might disturb you, or they should at least. They should be at least mildly disturbing. When they conducted the program, the test subjects were largely like prostitutes and stuff off of the street. They also took homeless people and subjected them to the experimentation. A lot of the experiments were like how people would react to acid, like LSD drugs and stuff like that, hallucinogens. And you like prostitution is illegal in the US. There are loopholes around that, but technically it's illegal. But that doesn't mean that like you should just be subject to weird experimentation and shit like that. Like, it kind of seems, you know, pretty dark to like threaten someone with like legal repercussions. Like, oh, we caught you being a prostitute. Now you can either consent to this experimentation thing, or we can put you in jail. But that's sad more than anything to think that people even on the street are disposable who come up with ideas like that. I know. It is very sad. They came up with ideas like that in that same time period. Between the 60s and the 90s was a very, very dark time in US history. And a lot of people think that it was the upturn because of like things like the civil rights movement, which took away like segregation, you know, like black people could go to the same schools and use the same drinking fountains and buses and blah blah blah. And that, I'm not downplaying that. That was great. That was absolutely a great thing to get rid of that. But not necessarily in the way that they ended up getting rid of it. But anyway, I'm glad that, you know, people can just they can use the same things and it doesn't matter what race they are. But the 60s to the 90s were like very dark in terms of like overall where we were going. People during the time, you know the Second Amendment. I'll tell you what specifically the Second Amendment says. It says that being necessary to the security of a free state. Wait a sec. Wait, fuck. Am I paraphrasing it? Fuck me. I'm so used to like shortening it to like just the points that are relevant. Now I have to fucking embarrassingly look up my own fucking thing here. I think there's a part before that. I think there's two. It's a run-on sentence, but there's like two sentences essentially. I think it's a militia being necessary to. Yeah, there it is. This one. I can't believe I'm forgetting my own shit right now, but a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, during this time period, a lot of people took that to mean that it was the right of the militia to keep and bear arms. And they thought, oh, well, back then we had a militia, now we have a formal military, so it must be saying that it is the right of the military to keep and bear arms. First of all, that doesn't make any fucking sense. How would it be a military if they didn't have arms? It would just be a group of people. Like, it would be like a protest if they weren't armed at all. Second of all, some people thought that it didn't translate to the military, it translated to militia service. So, like, if you were part of a local militia, which in other places in the world, they look down upon the term militia. They assume it is like something like a mafia or like a gang or something. In the US, there are plenty of militias, and they're not like terrorist organizations. They're not like Antifa or Black Lives Matter or several other, how would you call it? Nefarious organizations. But, they also look at shit like back then, even now they say some of these things, but especially so back then because there was no one to disprove like these ideas, these inappropriate, inapplicable, misplaced notions, because corporate media had the monopoly on everything, and they only are gonna propagate their agenda. They're not gonna say, "Oh, the Second Amendment actually is for the common man." But people also would focus on the words "well regulated," and they'd be like, "No, no, 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 no. It says well regulated. That means that the federal government should regulate it." Well regulated in the 1700s. The Second Amendment was ratified in 1792, along with the rest of the Bill of Rights. Well-regulated back then meant well-functioning. It did not mean federally regulated. It did not mean controlled by the government. It meant in working condition. I can explain how BLM organizations are bad. Not all of them are bad, but BLM specifically is bad, and it doesn't really matter whether you're referring to the Bureau of Land Management or you're referring to Black Lives Matter. Both of them are bad. To put it short, Black Lives Matter accepted a lot of donations and told people that they would get reform to like get rid of the systemic racism that first of all doesn't exist, and second of all, they used that donation money to buy mansions. Like the leaders of Black Lives Matter, they literally bought like $6 million in housing and property. So even if you thought that Black Lives Matter was like a good benevolent organization, or even if you thought they had a genuine cause, is what I'm trying to say, their use of the donors' money is disgraceful at best and criminal at worst. If you ask me, I would go with the latter. Let me read the other things you said. It is illegal here too. I never saw a hooker. There are mostly escort girls that target fancy areas. I was being told about, and that's all. that's pretty much the same thing here. Um, there's like quote escort girls and like other people who, you know, they spend time with you for a fee and have they happen to have sex or something like along the way to like skirt the laws essentially so that oh I didn't pay for sex. I paid him to hang out with me and then we I don't know got flirty or whatever. Like essentially that's what it is. But um so mostly between like the 60s and the 90s, people had those notions that the right to keep and bear arms was either directed towards the militia or that it should be federally regulated. Um, because not only because of the media trying to like shit on individual rights, the corporate media, but because um, the public school education doesn't teach rights properly, so the two in tandem made this situation where people inadvertently were taken advantage of to like vote away their own rights. Like if you watched Star Wars, like I probably mentioned it before when they give Chancellor Palpatine emergency power, which is the same emergency power that New Mexico governor that I showed you the video of. That's the same kind of thing that she was trying to use to ban carrying a weapon on you in New Mexico, the capital. In that scene at the end, Chancellor Palpatine, he says he's gonna give it up. He's gonna relinquish the powers given to him as soon as he finishes the Clone Wars and whatnot. And then Padme says, "So this is how liberty dies." With thunderous applause, because they're all clapping for him. They're all saying, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we're gonna give him this power so that he doesn't have to go through the Senate to, um, to like, you know, make decisions during the Clone War." And then what happens? Does he ever give up that power? No, he doesn't. Just like every other person in a government type of entity throughout history. I can be your escort girl. How much would you pay me in kisses? I can only count so high, Xanabi. Uh, a lot. Many. Maybe I would err in your favor. I don't know. Too many to count. But, and then the thing about between the corporate media and the public school education not teaching people is that they really have the same goals, and that's why I say things like conspiracy theories. You have to realize that there are some theories, but conspiracy itself is not a theory. Conspiracy is real. There are theories about it. Because what you have to realize is that large corporations in the US, they receive money from the government to keep them afloat. They receive bailouts. And they're only more and more every year. Recently, there was this act. It was called "Too Big to Fail," and it said that because if Walmart went out of business or Google went out of business, so many things would negatively affect Americans by like losing services or losing access to groceries or whatever, they decided that the government has to like subsidize their losses. So, they work together, and that seems nice, you know, like, oh yeah, cooperation, that's lovely. But in reality, they just, like, it's essentially a part of the government at that point, because, like, they use Google and YouTube, which is owned by Google, to censor information that the government doesn't want. Like during the COVID lockdowns, they censored literally everyone who even suggested or implied that the vaccines were not safe, or that they needed more time to be researched, or that they were experimental, under the guise that it created public panic and fear, and it made people hesitate to take the vaccine, under the guise that it was in the public's interest to question later and take injection now. So, like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, you know? Like, there are people who are gonna deny that conspiracy exists until they die, pretty much. And that's fine, you know? If you want to die wrong, then fucking do it now, please. But it is what it is. You know, like, I can't make anyone accept things, but at some point, your pattern recognition skills should be firing, and you should be saying they received billions, literally billions. In 2021, I think alone, they received $360 billion in bailouts. Not just one company, but like amongst all of the corporations like Walmart and Google and the others. And like at some point, you know, you have to be like, okay, they received money from them. They know that they have to like play nicely to receive that money, you know, like you can't bite the hand that feeds you. At what point are you willing to admit that like large corporate conglomerates are simply a way for the government to loophole the First Amendment and censor you, you know? The First Amendment says that people have free speech, and then people say, "Oh, YouTube's not violating your free speech because they're not part of the government. They're not a government agency. They're a platform. They don't want you to say something on their platform, so it's okay for them to take your stuff down if they don't want you there." But is it really? First of all, free speech is an idea. It's not the First Amendment. They're not synonyms of each other. The First Amendment protects free speech, but the First Amendment is not literally free speech in and of itself. That's like saying January 25th is birthday. It's my birthday, but it's not specifically your birthday, and the word birthday and January 25th are not the same exact thing, you know, like, so people don't understand that there's, like, stuff, there's, like, a reason for something, and then there's a law about that thing, you know? Like, similarly, everyone has, like, the right to life and stuff like that, but, we have murder laws and stuff on top of that. In the Declaration and Constitution, it says everyone has the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But we don't say that they're constitutional or like otherwise. We don't say that the government is violating their right to live if they die. if by someone else murdering them, because it's not the government that's doing it. You know, at that point, it's the murderer. So we have additional laws under the same argument, though. Under the same argument that everyone has the right to live, the government can't kill them, and other people cannot kill them. Similarly, under the idea that people have the right to speak freely, the government should not censor them, and other things should not censor them either. You can't call yourself a supporter of free speech while you censor people and say that you are not violating their free speech because you're not a government entity. That's not how it works. That would be the same thing as if a business had a no gun sign on the front door and they said that they are a Second Amendment friendly business, that they support the carrying of arms, just they don't allow it in their store. You know, that doesn't make any sense. But people believe that horse shit for some reason. Because they're hollow, for one thing, and for another thing, they've been brainwashed. I don't think they are at some point. My dude is. Wait, what? I don't think they are at some point. My dude is flashing his thing. But you know, he's using a tag. He's using the edge. Wait, what? He's using the tag educational so that he can get with it. I don't understand what that means. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying with that. Like, oh, let's save here really quick before we forget. Which one did I fucking... Oh, that's an interesting noise that it makes. 9:15:23, that's today. I'd rather listen to the menu music than the pause music. Oh, I think you mean you don't think that they are violating people's free speech at some point because he's flashing his dick, that one guy who was doing the shaving tutorial, and he's using the educational tag so he can get away with it. Yes, I agree. Sort of. But, like, here's the thing. Well, do you think, Kaylee, that free speech is a must because not all people deserve it, to be honest? Here's the thing, boo. How do you... Here's the thing, all right? You're right, and I don't argue against that at all. But that's not the point of free speech. The point is this. How do you figure out who gets free speech and who doesn't? Because you can't do that without the government, right? You need some sort of system to do it. Can't put many stuff on YouTube, you'd get banned and stuff. But he got away with it by using certain tags. You're saying you're free to say shit, but people and what's around you is free to act on them. So, like I was saying, free speech isn't exposing yourself, like, indecently, like nudity. Free speech is not, like, showing, like, pornographic images of people who are not 18. None of that is free speech. Free speech is voicing a dissenting opinion. An opinion that may not be based on anything. I would prefer it to be, obviously, but it doesn't have to be smart. It doesn't have to be logical. But when you try to put limitations on it, when you try to make people need to be qualified to get their free speech, you create a whole lot of problems. Because first of all, the government has to do it. There's no way to control who is allowed to talk freely and who is not without the government, because it has to do with some sort of ID system. Second of all, what is the test? Because I'm sure there's going to be a test that somebody makes or some group of people make, and no matter what you put on that test, not only is it going to change over time and eventually become corrupt, but when it comes out, it probably isn't going to be accurate anyway. So if you make some sort of test to be like, oh, people who get this test answers correct, they can have free speech, and people who don't cannot, then what happens if some of the test questions are like bad, you know? What if they're propaganda? What if they are inaccurate? What do you put on the test that would be relevant to free speech and be relevant to being qualified that could possibly be like immune to being propaganda? You know, it would be things like it would be things like, what's your opinion on, you know, blah blah blah. And it's just, you might make it like pretty good, but you're not gonna make it perfect, and eventually someone is gonna be like, no, I could make it better, and then they put a bunch of horseshit in there, and then they make sure that the only people with free speech are the ones who agree with them and their propaganda viewpoints. We can't figure out, the government is doing it blindly and restricting innocent people along the way. In essence, yeah. Now alternatively, if you think that a test is too crude to possibly discern between who should have free speech and who shouldn't, it should be a living person who makes that judgment call. Then who does that? Who is the arbiter of rights, you know? Who gets... You're doing the same thing with the guns. Remember how I said you can't... Even people who you think are extreme risk, even people who you think are risky to society, you can't take away their rights until they 100% are like either... Not even either. Until they're 100% committing a crime. Now what you can do is you can make things a crime along the way as within reason. Like, you don't have to shoot someone to be a criminal. Just pointing a weapon at someone is criminal. It's a crime and it's against the law. So you don't have to like wait for someone to literally shoot at you to say, hey, I can't let you do that, and then you have to draw your gun first or whatever. But at the same time, you cannot prevent people from you deem that are dangerous. You cannot prevent those people from acquiring arms, because people can change, you know that, just like I do. And you can't punish them for things that they haven't done yet. And also, anytime that you try to, it just results in innocent people getting violated for falling under the same things. The person you call dangerous may not be the person who I call dangerous. It probably is, because you and I are very similar, but not 100% of the time. And if I was to ask your previous self, like, who you were a year ago, if I was to ask that girl who she thinks is dangerous, she probably would have described someone like me. So you have to remember that it is no simple feat. It seems like a good idea. It seems like a great idea that we're gonna find the people who are mentally unstable, and we're gonna find the people who have anger issues, and we're gonna say no guns. We're gonna find the people who are racist, and we're gonna find the people who are stupid, and we're gonna say no free speech. But when it comes down to it, how do you implement that? ultimately you'll find that there is simply no way. But what makes a lot more sense than trying to chase people down for practicing their rights is letting the community govern itself. And that means letting dangerous people have arms. That means letting dangerous people have arms. Because at every moment that they make a bad choice and use one of their arms to commit a crime, they use it in an act of aggression. They use it in a illogical, unfounded manner. At every single time, at every single instance, there is someone else on the receiving end of that crime. There is a victim. And that victim should be armed as well. And if that victim is armed, they have just as much power to put a stop to it. And they have much greater applicability to put a stop to it than anyone else does as a third party. You can say, oh, the government should do this to this person and that to that person, but they aren't there in the moment. They do things retroactively. You commit a crime, they chase you down for it. Maybe they catch you, maybe they don't. Maybe you commit another crime and then eventually they catch you. And then they roll out your punishment, depending on how good your lawyer is, depending on how well you hid the evidence or got rid of it or whatever. And so the government does a really poor job of everything, but not limited to correcting the people who need correcting in society. And the other thing, the last thing that you have to keep in mind about that is, and it doesn't really apply to free speech, but you still think I am? Well, it's a good thing to be dangerous, Boo. In this world, it is good. But, the last thing that you have to know, and again, it doesn't apply to free speech, it really only applies to freedom to acquire and use arms, is that if a crazy person gets weapons, they may make some bad choices, some choices that they don't think about. But eventually, so many people will make bad choices, and I don't mean so many as in a lot, like millions and millions and millions, but enough of them, whatever that number may be, enough of them will make bad choices to where society will eventually say, I should be really fucking polite, because you just don't know who's gonna blow your head off, you know? So it's in my best interest to be very polite, very understanding, talk everything out, try and find a solution that is not violence, because if I upset someone, they might kill me, and they don't want to have to be in that situation either, because just because they kill me doesn't mean that they get away and I just die. That doesn't mean that's the end of it. I have friends, you know? So they really don't want to have to shoot me, unless they have a legitimate reason to. Because if they kill me, my friends might kill them, you know? So no one wants to be in that situation. If you let people just be armed, all the problems just sort themselves out. Nobody wants to get shot over silliness.